Let's talk about cheat meals, because the cheat meal is one of the most popular concepts in fitness, and I genuinely think it might be doing more damage than people actually realize. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about physical damage, but mentally, and the mental side of this gets really interesting. First, the word cheat. Think about what that implies. It implies that eating is some kind of test you're supposed to be passing, that certain foods are bad, and eating them means, you failed. You've broken a rule. When you build that kind of moral framework around food, good foods, bad foods, cheating, being naughty, you create a psychological relationship with eating that is absolutely exhausting to maintain and almost guaranteed to blow up on you eventually. The amount of people that I've seen, sign up with some personal trainers, and by the end of the time with them, they have developed a full-blown eating disorder. Now, during my time as a personal trainer, I've dealt with a lot of people who've had food addictions, who deal with, emotional eating disorders, all of that kind of stuff, right? So I talk about diet in a very different way, because a lot of people who have these eating disorders, they didn't just appear out of nowhere. There is a framework that happens. There's this thought process, because once you've cheated on your diet, the mental script kicks in. You've already ruined it. You may as well just fucking eat whatever you want, right? And what started as a planned Saturday burger turns into a Saturday burger, a bunch of drinks, some dessert, and then you got a hangover on Sunday, but you're still going. You have a little Sunday brunch, then you have a Sunday roast, and then you're like, fuck it, I'll reset on Monday. And suddenly you've had 3 or 4 days of significantly above maintenance eating, and that has completely erased the deficit that you spent all week creating. Now let's look at the numbers, because the numbers here are genuinely eye-opening. Let's say you're aiming for a 500 calorie deficit every day. Over 5 days, that's Monday to Friday, that's about 2,500 calories. That's solid. That's good. That can give you some pretty decent results. Now, a proper restaurant meal with, a starter, a mains, a dessert, and fuck it, we'll throw some fucking drinks in there. Easily 2,000 to 3,000 calories in one sitting, if not more. You can literally wipe out your entire week's deficit before you've even had the dessert. And here's what makes it worse. When people eat in a way that feels indulgent or unplanned, they often underestimate how much they've eaten. Studies show we're already terrible at estimating calories. But when we're in cheat mode, that underestimation gets even worse, because psychologically, we want it to be less. So we tell ourselves, it wasn't that bad. It probably was. Right, so you should never eat a burger again, right? That's not what I'm fucking saying. Absolutely not. That would be a terrible way to live, and I absolutely would not recommend it. But there is a very important difference between a cheat meal and what I actually call a refeed. A refeed is a planned, structured increase in calories, specifically carbohydrates, maybe on certain days of your diet. It has actual benefits. When you're in a sustained calorie deficit, your body starts to produce less of a hormone called leptin, which regulates metabolism and hunger. Deliberately eating at or slightly above maintenance for a day or two can help to reset these hormone levels. Could also help to reduce the metabolic adaptation to dieting, and big one, mentally give you a break. This is a science-based tool used by people who, know what they're doing. A cheat meal is often just eating a whole bunch of fucking stuff just because the weekend is here and I've been good all day, all week. There's nothing wrong in enjoying food. That's complete normal human behavior. But the problem is when it's unplanned or used as a reward system and large enough to set your progress back significantly. So what should you actually do? Okay, a few things. Firstly, stop calling it a fucking cheat meal. Seriously, just call it dinner. You're not cheating on anyone. Secondly, if you're going to eat more on a particular day, account for it. If you know you're going out on Saturday, maybe cut back a bit during the week and then you can eat a bit more on the Saturday. Thirdly, practice eating the foods you enjoy in amounts that actually fit your overall intake, rather than just treating them like an exception to a strict diet. That's called flexible dieting, and it's far more sustainable long-term than swinging between restriction and excess. Look, end of the day, the goal shouldn't be so rigid that you never enjoy food. I mean, life's too short for that. The goal is to build a relationship with food that doesn't require you to either be perfectly disciplined or completely off the rails, because somewhere in the middle of those two things is where actual lasting progress lives.